Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Armada Village Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, want to call roll?
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Yep.
Adair. Here. Stirrup.
Here.
Sleds. Nope, he's not here, so. That is just happened. Here. Belkey.
Here.
Okay. You've had a chance to look at the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion by Clark, supported by Shaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Are there any citizen comments? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sam Belkey. I'm here to provide an update on the Citizen Parking Committee. The committee met on May 1st, including Steve Clark, who attended in a liaison capacity. I remind council that a year and a half ago, a joint committee was agreed to with the street commissioner as the village rep. We agreed at our meeting that we would generally follow Robert's Rules of Order, the golden rule for our personal behavior, and a problem-solving process going forward to look at downtown parking. The 6 problem-solving steps are: define the problem, determine the root cause of the problem, develop alternate solutions, select the solution, implement the solution, and evaluate the outcome for effectiveness. So right now we're focused on step 1, define the problem. We're going to do this by confirming data we already have. We're going to talk to more people, and we're going to collect new data. We met with the police chief for his perspective on the situation on May 8th. Steve was asked but was not able to attend. The village is also a new member of SEMCOG and may want to consider getting their perspective because it doesn't cost anything. Your members, they have some ideas. Our next meeting is May 22nd, where we will discuss data collected to date, any data gaps that may exist, and determine the next steps. We were advised the village has already bought new signs for village parking lots right after the last council meeting, in fact. We were a little surprised to hear that, since our understanding is the village agreed to work with us. They agreed this recently and as far back as October 2022 on a joint solution. Steve Clark's appointment as liaison is a step in the right direction. However, it's a liaison appointment to a citizen committee and not a village committee. This doesn't acknowledge the village's responsibility to manage parking in the village, and it limits the effectiveness of the committee by keeping it at arm's length. It's not quite the same thing as working together. I think that needs to change.
Thank you for your perspective. Are there any other citizen comments?
I'm Dawn Masser, and I'm just here as a part of the parking committee, and this is everything that Sam just said. Is
So you're just going to say ditto
the
to her.
perspective, yes, is I ditto that.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for your perspective. And would you?
Hi there, I'm Emily Sawitsky. Also to add to that, our first step in finding that solution is we're trying to find somewhere else to put the employees at this time. So we're working on contacting a couple local people. So our first step is going to be a few churches, and we'll see if they'll let those employees park behind their lots, and then following our rules of order, going back and evaluating to see where they're at after that. So we are trying to make a step in the right direction.
And just, you know, we're going to be appointing, you know, we've been officially appointing Steve tonight to represent us at the, with this parking committee. Now, is this through the, what is it, Chamber of Commerce, or is this just a group of citizens?
We're all business owners, and we all are part of the chamber, but I think we're just 3 individuals.
Right now, it's really not endorsed by any organization.
It could be endorsed by the chamber.
But it's not as of this time, Emily.
Well, I was appointed as the official.
A year ago, her and Julie were appointed through the Chamber of Commerce. It's been on our agenda, and
Okay.
they are our parking
Okay.
people.
Because
So,
I think it's nice if it comes through an organization.
well, and
Such
Carolyn's
as a
been
business people organization.
Carolyn's been coming as the president of the chamber, and I'm the vice president of the chamber. And
Okay, and after this, and certainly you're welcome every meeting, but it'll be the job of our appointed committee person to update us. Okay, is there any other, okay, moving on then. No presentations. Do we have administrative reports?
The planning commission, we've got a meeting May 20th, I think you guys have it in your packets. We're gonna be going over the Armada zoning ordinances. I've been looking over it, and there are some issues that I think we need to address. And hopefully we can address.
One of the things they're looking at in the zoning, Mike, is that I think we need to really look at that parking in the front yard. We got a lot of people who, it's very important for them during the fair time to park people. And so, myself, I'd hate to interrupt, those people.
So you're saying make an exception at fair time?
I'm just saying to consider
Yeah,
things,
we
that
can
there's a lot of
consider
times people park in their front yard
Yeah.
for very good reasons. Sometimes
Sure.
when they're trying to sell a vehicle, sometimes if they don't have adequate parking near their homes. And,
We're trying to get one vehicle out while we can.
yeah,
get one out.
I don't want a bunch of cars in the front yard either, but I think there's other things we gotta consider before we formalize the ordinance now.
Well, you guys all have a copy of it.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
changes were
Are
provided to
provided,
council.
right.
So just something to think about,
Okay,
Mike.
all right.
And front yard, the same as the village's easement out front,
You mean out here?
anyway.
No, your
The
easement,
boulders.
I would say no. Because that's village property, I would say your own property is different.
So can people park on the village parts?
I don't know. That's something we have to. they have to
Again,
look
that's
into.
something, you
It's
know,
not
you can
an
ask
approved
at the,
surface.
of the planner.
I think, I don't.
Just something that, I think could be controversial, so we need to get a good handle on what we're doing.
I've got
Steve?
something. I talked to Paul O'Mara from Rowe, who was discussing Lathrop Street, they want to get that closed out, and he wanted me to take a look at it, see how the grass was growing, and I said it's kind of sparse. So he got back with the Diamond Excavating, and they're gonna come out and reseed some areas so we can close that whole project out, so. I'll be looking for that.
Will he be giving us a timeline on the Simmons First Street?
Well,
You just
I-
sent something to my email that I have to print off for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll be checking into that.
Well, it'd be nice just to,
Yeah, well, last time I talked to him, I said, are we on the schedule you've been thinking about? And he said, yes, so.
Which I think
Wait,
is
It
September.
sounds like it's in the fall.
Fall.
I don't know what the rules are in that grant, but, it may be that you gotta make sure you finish it this year. Certainly, we wanna do that.
I'll ask him about that.
Ross, you got anything?
Yeah, just a few things. Had a meeting last week with Telto, that's our contractor for the hydrovacing of 150 service lines in the old sections of the village. And you're hydrovacing to determine the content of water service lines. We contracted with Telto, which he was a low bidder, so I think we're good there, but as the state does, when we sign the paperwork for the grant, there's always the fine print. And so there's a couple things we gotta make sure that Telto is observing as a contractor for the village, like Davis-Bacon Act and fair wages and so on and so on. So it doesn't appear that it's gonna be an issue. I'm working with Bernie Telto on those issues. We plan to start sometime in June. Related issue, we've got a meeting tomorrow with F&B operations on lead sampling, which is required this year by Eagle. We do that about every 3 years. All of these topics involves lead service lines or galvanized service lines, which is a pretty big deal in the state. We'll also be performing that this summer. In both cases, I'll get some public notification out on the village website, and we'll probably send some mailers out to the houses or to the residences and businesses involved. As you recall, we had a ZBA case where we found in favor of a non-conforming carport that lacked, it didn't go through the proper process, although in the case of the zoning, the village did not either, but he also had a structure built, and we wanted to make sure, since we found in his favor that it met building code. And we did have a inspector go out and, Joe, you
Did he get a building permit so the inspector could go out?
Yeah, the inspector's been out there, everything looks good, so from a building code standpoint, he's fine, so that pretty much closes that out. I think that's all I got.
Okay, well, thanks, Ross. You got anything, Joe?
Yep, I have a brief report. The police action report for April of 2024, traffic issues was 27, driving without a license revoked, 0, Armada Township fire department was assisted in 3 situations, assisted other agencies, 2, Macomb County Sheriff in Armada Township. Suspicious situation was 2, civil dispute was 1, dog or animal complaint 1, any other disturbances were 0, alarm on an open door was 1, domestic disturbance 3, a lockout 1, death investigation was 0, that's good. Juvenile related incidents were 2, damaged property 0, mental distress situation was 2, a warrant for an arrest was 1, miscellaneous calls for service were 8, missing person 1, lost and found property was 0, theft was 0, retail fraud was 0, internet fraud was 0, motor vehicle accident 1. As of April 30th, 2023, the miles on the toll car 431 is 100,320 miles. On 432, the F-150 is 36,950 miles. And 433, the unmarked Dodge, is 63,801. The chief also reports that the tasers finally came in on April 1st. The Macomb County Sheriff has on staff Sergeant Jason Conklin, who is a master taser instructor. Sergeant Conklin can train others to be instructors. Officer Cubitt will be going down to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department for one-day class on May 2nd, 2024 to be trained and certified as an instructor for our department. Officer Cubitt can then come back and train and certify Armada officers to use the tasers. And we just need to be aware that there is a short recertification process that needs to be done each year, and the training process can be kept in-house with Officer Cubitt certified as the instructor. I also have a report from our code enforcer, Tom Erman. A house with a fire on Floral. The house has been torn down and there's some yard cleanup that's still ongoing. Fence in the alley, east end of the alley is in disrepair. Letter to the homeowner on Burke to fix their portion or remove the fence. He received a complaint about a house on Church. He checked it out. He said it's much cleaner than it used to be. There's still some kids' toys and flower pots in the yard. He will follow up on that. House on Fulton, a letter was sent about the fence falling down and they had power lines over their pool. Pardon me? Oh. I don't know if the pool has to be moved. I would assume that it must, if that's what they're pointing out, is the power lines are
I
over
don't think
the
it's
pool.
not safe.
But it's not in the ground pool, so that's better. I think it would be a great idea to require all parcels to have their addresses prominently posted on the front of the house. Perhaps we could send letters out giving a time frame for that to be completed. And that is Tom Urban's report. For April.
Is that cover you, Joe?
Yes.
Well, thank you. Mr. Starrett?
I have nothing.
Okay, did you have anything in? Okay, everybody's good on administrative reports? Let's move on. Can I get a approval for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we resolve to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. No old business to discuss, new business. Zoning Board of Appeals resignation
And appointment.
and appointment. So, you wanna take that?
Yes, so Christy Patterson, is resigning from the ZBA, as the liaison between the planning commission and the ZBA. She, did that verbally with President Cronin. Kevin Brand, who sits on the planning commission at the present time, put in a letter of interest to be the liaison with zoning. So what you have is Kevin's letter, but you don't have anything from Christie because it was verbal.
All right. Christie did indicate at a couple of meetings that she was considering doing that, so we were not surprised by it. Make a motion then to accept the resignation of Christie Patterson from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately with regret.
Support.
I'm gonna give it to Joe.
That's the mother, you got it. I also am very sorry to see Christie leave.
Well, she's still on the
but
planning commission.
That's
She's
what I'm
just
saying,
not on the
she's still
ZBA.
staying on the planning commission.
For now, yeah.
So, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved.
And then I would also make a motion to comply with the President's recommendation to appoint Kevin Grand to the Zoning Board of Appeals to a term ending December 31st, 2024, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 2 of the Village Charter.
Support.
Okay. Motion by Belkey, supported by Clark. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Kevin, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
All aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. Citizens Parking Committee appointment. Well, we all know that, fortunately, Steve Clark volunteered for this appointment, and I just need a motion now and we'll formalize it.
Make a motion to allow Stephen Clark to serve as liaison to the Village Council on the Citizens Parking Committee.
Support.
There for a minute, I didn't think everybody's gonna make a
Well,
motion,
if
Steve.
you, yeah, if
I
you
thought
don't
you off
make the
the
motion,
hook.
if you don't make the motion, you get put on.
Anyhow, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Okay, as most of you do know, we are short a member. And the member who resigned, Chris Lenz, was our street administrator. And by law, we have to have a street administrator, somebody designated as a street administrator. And we're going to, Steve has volunteered to be that street administrator until we get another member, and then we may change a couple assignments and get a different street administrator, because Steve's got some other duties. But as of now, we need a motion to appoint him as our street administrator, which I hope will be for a temporary basis.
I'll make the motion that we approve Steve Clark to become the street
No,
administrator.
you have to, you
Oh.
gotta read that one, because it
Yeah.
goes to the state.
I gotta find it. Resolve to adopt a resolution designating Steve Clark as a single street administrator for the Village of Armada in all transactions with the State Transportation Department as provided in Section 13 of Public Act 51 of 1951, MCL 247.663.
Support that.
Okay, for this
Yep.
plan?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? No one? Motion's approved.
Steve, if you can stop by tomorrow, I need you to sign this.
Okay.
That was the shortest pro tem.
No, he's still pro temp.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. So I say,
Double duty.
hopefully this is temporary, and then I'll have to figure out some kind of shuffle around
Once we get another body.
to keep us effective.
Okay, next you're going into executive session.
Yes, we have a employee contract.
Who's gonna make the motion because it's on here?
Okay.
I'll do it.
You're the closest, so.
Make a motion to enter into executive session at 7:21 after a 5-minute recess.
All in favor of the motion?
No, I
Oh,
gotta do, I need a second,
Support.
and then I call roll.
Yeah.
Belkey,
Yes.
Adair,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes?
Shaw,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Sturta.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
You could be in this meeting.
Yeah, yeah. We need a note for the camera that the camera will go off during executive session, but we will turn it back on because we will have a motion after that. But we should have a motion. If not, we'll just bring it back to close out.
Meeting come to order.
Yeah. Okay, then you've got agenda statement.
Okay, now where are we here?
So somebody needs to make a motion, but it's not agreements, it's agreement.
Right here to approve
Yep.
the employment agreement.
Somebody got it?
I'll make a motion that resolves to approve employment agreement between the Village of Armada and Thomas Gillis.
Support.
Okay.
Yeah, we want a roll call.
Shaw?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Conan?
Yes.
Dare?
Yes.
Sturut?
Yes.
Belkey?
Yes.
Carried.
Okay. So, that covers our employee contract. Do we have any upcoming agenda items?
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to bring the water reliability study to council for approval. I've been working through scope issues with Rob.
Well, Ross, and I didn't know if you were referring to that today or not. You had got that grant about checking for the lead water pipes?
TMF grant, yeah.
Yeah. When does that start?
It's already started and I've signed off on the paperwork. Again, we get the $61,000 after we perform the work, but we're on contract with contract with Telto to do the hydrovacking, which will start in June.
Okay.
Just some contractual language we need to adjust.
So did you get what Russ, because I gotta ask a little different question there. Did you get
No.
what he wanted on the
It's-
agenda?
He's putting water reliability study on the agenda.
Okay. Are there any other agenda items to add?
So where do you bring them, please?
Yeah, because we'll meet Wednesday, and then we'll bring the police,
Part-time wages?
part-time wages and issues to the board.
Okay. Are there any other upcoming agenda items? Okay. Citizens comment.
I would just say thank you.
I don't know what you're thinking, Ms. Ford,
Because
but
we put
you're
him on the
welcome.
ZBA.
You may regret
Okay.
that. It's a
Okay. Council comments.
We talked about a little bit of this. I just, in the Army, I was used to getting status up for 40 years, I get status updates on stuff. Stuff drifts and then you don't remember it and you lose track. So I just like to see if we can get status updates on a couple topics at the next meeting. I think Steve is already on top of Simon's and First, which he mentioned. I talked to Ann a little bit about the infrastructure path forward. I know the focus is Simons and First, but part of that was to get an understanding of how we were going to potentially approach infrastructure in the future, even though we may not do anything until Simons and First is done. So I'd like to see if we get some kind of an update so I stay grounded with that. I know that Chris was working a couple issues and they fell off the grid. One was talking to the granary and orchard construction about maintenance of that gravel approach to our DPW yard. I've not heard that that's done, so maybe we can figure out where that is and what's keeping it from getting done. And then I know that, Joe, you had brought up a year and a half ago about the east stub of Lathrop Street. There was supposed to be, we've got signage sitting down in the DPW that's not been erected yet.
That needs to go up, that's part of.
Because I thought we said yes, it's a village street, and I just don't know. I know there was a discussion on that, and I'd just like to get an update.
I don't know if you can get answers on this. If that commissioner wants to put it on the agenda for next meeting, they can, but they don't have to, Ross.
I got it. I just think it's incumbent, though, that we kept appraised generally of these issues, not every.
Oh, no, it's a fair thing. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
because you say you want an answer, it doesn't necessarily going to automatically be there next meeting. But certainly you've addressed these commissioners now.
Yeah.
And now they'll have that opportunity to put that on the agenda.
I would just like an update. Right.
Yeah, I
We're
thought
supposed
it
to
was
be
done.
working with transparency.
That was back when I was treasurer.
You
so
can call them up and ask them
I thought it
too,
was
you know,
done.
really.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Mm.
Okay.
Especially being we have the sign.
Mm.
And if Dave keeps asking me, can he put them up? It's like, I'm not the street guy. So,
Steve.
Actually, I thought our parking signs were fine there. You know, you had a sign that says parking, you had a sign on the thing that says parking, but
Well, that has to be.
I'm not sure why we had to
It
change
has to be a
something.
designated
The street name
Yeah.
has to be on there.
Yes.
Well, at the lot, the sign said
No,
parking.
she's talking about Lathrop, you're talking about downtown parking.
Right.
You're
Yeah,
talking
I'm
about two
talking
different
about
things.
that, you know.
Yeah.
That's part of Act 51. If we don't comply with that, we could lose.
I don't wanna keep buying signs and wasting the people's money, yet we want things marked good. Okay, are there any other council comments?
I haven't heard on the playscape. Have you got any correspondence, Michelle?
No, I wasn't in last week though,
Okay.
but I haven't seen anything yet.
Again, when you can give us some kind of a timeline on that, would be,
Yeah,
would be nice.
I'll try and get that drawing done within, before the next meeting.
okay, that'd be great.
Before.
Steve's working on where we're gonna put it, which they have to know that, I know that, so. we have to give them that.
So do we have any community events we should be?
Memorial Day
Parade.
parade,
Memorial
Yeah.
Day tonight.
just
Yeah,
approved
it's in
it
the
tonight.
package. Small town.
Yeah,
summertime
because
festival.
our next meeting will be after Memorial Day. Remember, the next meeting
It's the
Tuesday
28th.
is Tuesday the 28th.
The elementary school, and I don't know that I've got the right date. The elementary school has a silent departure that they usually undertake in honor of veterans and those that have served and paid the ultimate sacrifice. I want to say it's the 22nd. I may be wrong. Maybe the 23rd. Anyway, it's a silent departure, and what they look for is, in addition to the fire department and the police department, any veterans that have, currently serving or have served or in the Guard or the Reserve, or families of veterans to be there when the kids walk out of school. It's a reminder to the kids of the sacrifices, and they typically don't get a lot of people that show up. And it's very meaningful for the kids, and so I would just encourage those that have served or have family members that have served to represent their family member and be there.
Ross, you're gonna represent the village council on that, aren't you?
I'll be there.
And in the-
I've not been good in the past.
And the
but
Memorial Day Parade, we had this discussion last year.
yeah,
We wanna see you out there.
yeah. It's a little tough for me sometimes.
You served a lot of time.
Yes, I did. It sounds like behind bars.
No.
Uh,
Sprung it
Anyway, yeah, I
Not
would
meant that
encourage,
way at all.
I would encourage people
Yeah.
to be there. It means a lot to the kids. And, 3:30 on the 22nd, 23rd. Don't hold me
Check the
to
school
the date.
calendar.
Yeah, I'll check. I had a note here and I don't know where the note is.
Might be a little earlier than that, cause school gets out about 3:30.
Yeah, I thought it.
He's
yeah.
talking about when they come out.
Yeah.
Coming
Pat
out.
Gackstader is usually the one that's got all the
But
info.
they've done some stuff like that, and that's a very good idea.
Oh, wait a minute, it was completely wrong. May 24th, Friday, May 24th, 3:30-ish, that's what they say. So you just line up in front and the kids file past, they don't see a thing, they just file past.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice idea. Okay, I guess if we don't have anything else, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to, what am I making a motion to do?
Adjourn.
Adjourn the meeting at 7:55.
Support.
All in,
Sturr, Shaw, or Clark?
Give it to Steve.
Okay,
take your choice.
all right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's approved.